This is the One Piece Podcast, episode 494 for the week of November 6, 2017. My name is Steve.
And my name is Ed.
And things are different this week, if you couldn't tell, because I don't sound like Zach. I also am not Zach.
You're also not in Norway.
Yeah, Zach is currently in Norway, here at Sleef Erikson Week there. Hingerdurgen. Hope he's having a great time, but I'm taking up hosting duties this week alongside Ed, and we're joined by our very special guest, Stephen Paul, translator for One Piece in Viz's Shonen Jump.
That's me. I'm sure that probably as at the moment that we're recording this, Zach is just getting this horrible, force wave going down his back over there. He knows what sins we're committing. Yeah.
I felt something. And from ANN, we have the host of our anime recap segment. We have Sam Leach. What's up, Sam?
Yo, I'm here.
He again. Is. Good boy, Sam.
I try.
That's it. This is what you get.
There's a train. It's going off the rails. That's a Steve episode for you. But today we have the manga recap for chapter 884. And like I said, the anime recap for episode 812. We got a piece together segment as well. It's your standard episode, except it's different because it's not hosted by Zach. It's hosted by me.
We have news actually specifically pertaining to you and me, Steve.
Yes.
Of what happened this year at Anime Expo.
Yeah, go ahead, Ed. Fill them in.
Sure. Viz finally posted the Spoil It video for us for One Piece, which is us trying to spoil as much about the series in 70 seconds?
I think it was 60. I think it was a solid minute.
Well, yeah.
A minute and 10 seconds isn't as punchy when you say it that way.
Yeah. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. We got to go up to their they recorded it at the hotel suite at AX, and we were sort of playing it by ear that weekend, and
yeah, we
had no idea what this was going into it. Really, I wasn't paying attention.
And
I had a lot of fun.
In case you, the listener, does not know what we're talking about, Viz has been hosting some videos on their social media accounts, like on Facebook and Twitter, and they'll have someone stand in front of the camera and for 60 seconds try to spoil as much of a series as possible. Our good friend Roger did one for My Hero Academia. I know there's been one for Hunter x Hunter with the Green Bay Packers man. I don't remember his name.
Mike Daniels.
There you go. And Viz asked us to do one for One Piece, and we were happy to oblige. And yeah, this was during AX. This is the first day of AX. I remember because Ed and I had to rush because we had to drive down to Long Beach for the New Japan
wrestling show. Yeah,
the wrestling show.
That's what I posted on Twitter. Is the proof that I did more at AX than go to wrestling show.
Yeah, we were actually. I don't know if you remember this, Ed, but we were the first ones to record with them. We were we were the test subjects, so
they did a couple of takes. They picked the best one, I think.
Yeah,
and,
I think that was our first take.
And as someone who has not read One Piece, I am now thoroughly spoiled.
That's the thing about One Piece is that you can say things, but people have no frame of reference for them, and they are spoilers, but
exactly
they don't have to make sense.
That's why it was funny seeing some criticism of our video. I was just like, that's not a spoiler. This is a spoiler. And
people are thinking about this so much more than I did.
I was like, it's like neither of those matter. It's just an information dump. That's the whole point of this video. But it was a lot of fun. I would love to give you some more information about recording that. Since Ed and I both recorded together side by side, here's a frame of reference in case you've never seen us in person. I am much taller than Ed.
I'm 5'6". You're like,
I'm 6'4".
Yeah.
So the way to work that, because they really couldn't move the camera, so I was leaning on a table all the time. So I looked already really intense. It looked like good cop, bad cop. And I went in with the notion to just keep direct eye contact with the camera the entire time and try to be as straight face as possible. I cracked up.
Me looking at the corner of my eye at you and trying not to laugh.
I cracked up a bunch of times, and that did make the video. And yeah, we had fun, and they really liked. I think they weren't. I think even the guys at Viz didn't know quite what to expect, so ours really threw him for a loop. I know I can't remember.
He wasn't involved in producing it, but our good friend Adam Sheehan was also there in the suite at the time.
All I can remember about our second take is I think we talked about Crocodile, and I know I mentioned Ace died.
See,
Okay.
that's the one legit. That was the one legitimate criticism of the video.
Yeah,
So
Yeah.
I mentioned this.
that used to be how I would open panels.
Right.
I remember Anime Expo 2010 when Dennis came in with a cardboard cutout. He was dressed as Akainu with a cardboard cutout of Ace with a big hole in his chest and a big fire fist.
Good times. Magma Fist, really. But yeah, if you haven't seen that, go check it out. It's on Viz's Facebook and their Twitter, and of course, it's on our Facebook and our Twitter as well. No other news other than the fact that Zach will be hosting a panel at Anime NYC in NYC, and that's the weekend of November 17th to the 19th. The panel's at 8 p.m. on Friday night, which is the 17th. I believe Kelly will also be joining him. And Zach keeps alluding to other things, but those are incredibly vague, and I don't hold Zach up to.
Known only to him.
But that's all we really have for this opening segment. I say we get right into the manga recap. You boys ready?
I am ready.
Choo choo. This is the manga recap for chapter 884. Who is that?
Who's that?
Who is that?
Well, on the cover of the manga this week, we have the saga of the self-proclaimed Straw Hat Fleet, Volume 18, EDO. Looks like we stumbled on a 1,000-year war between Long Legs and Long Arms, which is interesting considering that they're both long legs and long arms people. Like they wouldn't know about that. It's also interesting how
the patterned leg hair here is kind of bugging me.
That's amazing. I love it. It's like those 80s socks, just with the colored stripes. You pull them up high. Yeah.
This king looks like he could be the father of who was Vivi's partner when she was in Baroque Works?
Oh,
Mr. Nine?
Mr. Nine, baby.
Mr. Nine. He looks like
one of the kings who got his head cut off by Judge.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna think.
He looks like he looks like the king from Nolan's no,
a lot of One Piece kings.
He looks very similar to the king from Nolan's flashback that he was a dick. And yeah, he does look like King John as well.
Mm-hmm.
Also, kind of tying into this week's anime episode, I'm liking whenever we get little reminders of the sort of race relation stuff that Oda has in mind. Seems like there's a thread he's following there.
And Charlotte Mukuru appears in this week's episode as well, the long-armed member of the Charlotte family.
Oh, I was wondering where that was going.
But you're wrong. She was never popular.
No.
But yeah, so that's. Anyone else have anything to say about what's going on the cover here?
I'm sure the next cover page is going to be Bugili and Hideo. I'll be like, now, shake hands and feet. Let's all try to get along.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway,
why don't you take us in, Ed?
Yeah. We pick up where we left off with Luffy cracking Katakuri real good right in the chest. And he coughs up blood, but we still don't see his mouth again. It's interesting what Oda chooses not to show in this chapter. We get the close-up in Luffy's eyes, and Katakuri, that's the moment of impact, and he is then sent flying in the next panel. That looks... It's an interesting sense of speed, the way he does it with the steam lines of Katakuri flying through space that way.
Also, the pose of him flying away with the one leg kind of kicking up. It's a great pose because it really kind of just shows the speed of how far back he's getting hit. I just like that little detail.
Mm-hmm. And he goes through a big pillar, and Luffy says, "I thought you were invincible." Armament hockey is supposed to be the power to hit your solid form. But, as Katakuri sort of screeches into the ground, he's stopping himself. And Luffy says, armament hockey is supposed to work on Logia powers, but my punches went right through you. I thought they didn't work. And
This is making me wonder when he mentions the Logia powers. Is like, did Luffy know that Katakuri's fruit was reclassified when they went to volume? I don't know.
It is really funny to try. It's really funny to see like how much Oda is leaning into this change.
Yeah,
because it's a thing he didn't really have to bring up or draw too much attention to, but I guess that's what he wanted to do.
There's far too much stock put into the strict classifications of devil fruits, in my opinion.
Well,
but
forgive me, guys.
To be fair, the theme of this little conversation is how Katakuri is kind of fooling Luffy into thinking his powers are something else. So it does fit in in a way.
It is trouble, as people have been joking.
I have not been on the show.
Drop in the lines in his face.
I have not been on the show too much this past year. What type of devil fruit is the mochi fruit this week?
So, well, it was originally introduced as a Logia fruit when the chapter first came out, and then when he collected it to volume, I guess, I don't know, somebody pointed out that he was not playing by his own rules, or he decided that he wanted to, like, he knew what this little kind of trickery was going to be here, and so he revised it to be a special paramecia fruit instead. And so it was just kind of funny that Luffy mentions Logia here.
Okay.
So we turn the page, and he's got a big guttural, but I was wrong. My attacks can hit you. And I love this panel at the bottom of the page here where Luffy is just smacking Katakuri from above, and Katakuri's whole body is like spinning in recoil of the attack.
Look at the swirling. Look at the swirling where his head is, like behind his head. It's great. So I hit my microphone. I'm so excited.
Katakuri is getting spun around a lot in this chapter, and Luffy he's continuing to say, your armament defense that was so tough before, he hits him again, can't stand up to Gear 4. And you see Katakuri, holding his ground. His feet are sliding against the ground again. He's bloody. He's catching his breath. It's not your mochi powers that are so great. It's your color of observation, isn't it? And he's got his legs up. It's this. He's done this attack against Doflamingo where he just like pops up and his feet are like right up against his opponent's face.
Yeah, I think that first panel there on the left side where Luffy is remembering his swollen hands. That's kind of that's the thing coming into play that we mentioned last chapter, where it's like levels of armament. So like his armament wasn't good enough before because Katakuri's was more powerful, but when he goes into Gear 4, his is more. It's the degrees of the effect, that it's not just a checkbox yes or no, but that one can be more powerful than the other. So
it's simple. This is what you would call armament hockey. And this is what you would call an armament hockey beyond an armament hockey. Or let's just call it armament hockey 2. And this
it's much more,
is to go even further beyond. I'm not going to do a Sean Schimmel scream.
It's much more fun than trying to explain the rules of magic.
Luffy's arm hair pricks up with each form.
Yeah, it's super armament hockey.
Ultimate armament hockey.
But Sam, we go to the next page. The name of that attack is Rhino Schneider, as he kicks.
Not to be confused with Rob Schneider.
No.
Yeah, he is a rhino.
Schneider,
rated PG-13.
Rob Schneider is a rhino. Oh, I'm a rhino. But he does kick Katakuri, who does that same pose that I complimented Oda on a few pages back, as he goes through probably, I guess, another pillar. And this was a detail I did not pick up on my first read through, and I'm just realizing now. Katakuri gets knocked back, and he comes close to hitting the ground with his back, but he jerks his head back so it's his head that hits the ground, and then he tumbles,
he's like pushing himself up with his head.
Yes, this is great.
That's pretty cool.
Wow, didn't notice that.
Kayfabe Katakuri. It's still real to him, damn it. And we see him standing up. This nice this cool perspective shot that's kind of close to the ground, and we kind of just see the wall rising with all these mirrors. As Katakuri collects himself, lets out a big sigh and goes, "Phew!" And Luffy powers up another attack, Gum Gum, and Katakuri glares with this cool close-up panel. You could tell he's using his color of observation, and Luffy lets out a Kong organ. And once again, Katakuri is dodging all of Luffy's punches. As he says, "It's impressive that you could even detect what I'm doing." Or is this Luffy? No, this is Katakuri.
No,
right?
that's Katakuri. Yeah.
Okay. It kind of applies to both, but
Has he used this move before?
yes, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
Kong
this is what
organ?
he was.
Yeah, this is what he used against Cracker.
I mean, we're the One Piece podcast. I mean, I am sure.
I just remember it looks really bad in the anime.
But it looks great here. For whatever reason, it's not like he looks too different, but I just like the way Luffy's drawn in this. He looks very cartoony. Luffy kind of glares with 3 exclamation points. Apparently, he's been caught in something. As Katakuri continues, as he kind of gloops and gorps, he says, "That's right. I'm merely reforming my body to efficiently dodge your attacks. It's possible if you could see the future with hockey."
And on the next page, he further explains, "By losing my grip and getting a little bit carried away, I allowed you the opportunity to attack. You need to be properly calm for observation hockey to work." So yes, it's true. When Luffy was quote unquote punching Katakuri before and just having his fist go through, it wasn't that he was hitting Katakuri. It's that Katakuri was just reforming his body right around the punches with perfect accuracy. And
unfortunately, too much like trouble for my liking.
Yeah, it is a little familiar, I guess I would say. But in this case, he does it, and then he kind of closes in with his mochi body around Luffy's wrist there, and yeah, he sort of locks him in, and kind of reminds me of Mr. 3 when he did the candle wall or the candle lock stuff.
Yes, candle lock.
Yeah. And so Katakuri is reminiscing, how many years has it been since I was punched? And he is realizing now that he's aware of what Luffy's capable of, how it was that Cracker was defeated, and we have a little in memory of Cracker image over his shoulder.
That's the picture they choose of him.
Unfortunately, due to the size of the page constraints, Oda could not include also a picture of Pearl from Don Krieg's crew, who also had never been hit before.
Yep.
So,
I'm
sure Katakuri knew who Pearl was.
Yeah, they'll do the James Earl Jones on The Simpsons, like they'll just fade all of his characters over in the anime. So yes, the Biscuits guy, as Luffy remembers him, and then Katakuri, still with Luffy's fist trapped, does his next mochi move, Unstoppable Donuts, which are not mochi, as Luffy observes. With shock, and yeah, there's just some big hollowed out mochi blobs that are shooting out of the ground there, and Luffy tries to react by with his hand still stuck, he lifts up his legs to do another Rhino Schneider attack, but this time Katakuri lets his arm go, and then he does this sort of weird, I'm not even really sure exactly.
It splits in two after he fires it. Like, is he like a mecha? Is he shooting his fist at him?
It's like it's like this is like some Bayonetta stuff right here.
Okay, yeah, you're right, Sam. Yeah, the arms are coming out of the donut holes of his mochi attack, and then so then the giant power mochi punch is from the mochi. It's not from Katakuri's.
Oh, that makes sense now. That makes
fist.
visual sense now. I see that.
I was just getting confused because Luffy's dialogue says like, "Hey, those aren't mochi." Like, wait, what? Is this not Katakuri's power? Is this someone else? And I realized, that's just Luffy being dumb.
It's because they're donuts, not mochi.
He's being picky about his opponent's
it's
theming.
It's a bit of a tsukomi.
They're called
sounds like.
onigiri katakuri. God.
Yeah. And there is a little bit of a pun, like with all of Katakuri's mochi attacks. There is a mochi, chikara mochi, which means a power mochi, and that I think that's just like kind of I guess a thicker and more robust type of mochi, I believe. But it is also a homophone for another word, chikara mochi, which means someone who has power or someone who is powerful. So that seems to be accurate or appropriate here because that is a big old fist that is just walloping Luffy right on the scar. Ouch.
And yeah, Luffy is in a lot of pain. I don't know if it's not an electrical attack, but there are cracks forming in the atmosphere when Luffy gets punched. That is really impressive. And Luffy goes flying. He flies into the wall. And Katakuri declares, won't be giving you that opening again. Back to the starting point, which is a little discouraging, but then again, he's the villain, so he's probably lying, this fight's going to go on for a little while longer, apparently.
Yeah.
Yep.
You switch points of view here at the Chocolat Town, Cacao Island. And a familiar voice, like, please, I wish you would open the door. And they tell him at the door of the Sweets Factory, I'm afraid we can't do that, Pound. Lady Pudding was very clear. And he retorts, I just want to see, like, Chiffon one time. People are asking, who is this weird guy? He says he's Mama's 25th husband.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, boy. Yeah, quite the crowd has emerged. And I like how they zoom in from the island view to the front of the factory, and he, like, the little Pound, but then like the full on face of him is like, I could tell the moment I spotted her face. She looked like exactly the same as when she was born. Just as cute as ever. Let me see her so I can just say one thing to her. I shouldn't have watched that. I shouldn't have watched that episode of Duckman.
So was it surprising to anyone else that, like, was anyone else kind of taken aback by, like, oh, he has not seen Chiffon since she was a baby?
How did he get to this island? That's what I'm thinking.
Well, so, like, was he just like
a rowboat or something?
Was he just hanging out in the like in the apple juice forest for like 25 years?
We saw them flying over him recently. Oh, you're talking about with the years he had.
Are you just talking about the territory in general, Ed?
Well, like, we're on a completely different island. How did he get from?
Chocolate Town? Oh, we saw him chapters ago. He was on a raft.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, he was throwing himself.
Man, I forgot about that.
Yeah, it was when they were flying on Arabia, and he's like, "Is that Chiffon?"
Oh yes. That
wasn't too long ago. But to go back to what Steven was saying, yeah, I was kind of surprised that he has not seen his daughters since they were actually born. Good
that
thing.
Makes his
good
recognition.
Wait, is that? Oh wait, yeah, I guess
it explains the tears. Like, seriously,
yeah.
As much as I make him sound goofy, he clearly has no. He has no idea what's become of his children.
Good thing they look
I guess
exactly
Big Mom's
the
like
same.
really, really done with her husbands when she's done with them.
But she let him live for this long? Like, what's she doing?
There's a lot of weird stuff going on. But the fact that he's still around and he's trying to, I feel like we're going to find out probably some more, like, sort of family stuff.
You say
because
that.
Otherwise, why would he be here?
I love the baby's lips. That's how he can tell.
Yeah. Like Usopp's nose. It's like, oh, that's right. That's Chiffon.
We turn the page and it is 4 p.m. as we can see on the clock. We hear, I think this is Brulee's voice over the phones, over the intercoms. Something wrong, Pudding? And Pudding is responding, it's nothing, Sister Brulee. Please continue. Chiffon asks, is something happening outside? There's some man shouting out there. Don't worry, nobody's coming inside. Sanji assures her. Brulee continues talking. Anyway, at 1 o'clock at night, the Straw Hats ship is going to show up at Cacao Island where you are. And we hear all the chefs talking to each other, sugar over here, baking powder, blah, blah, blah. And Sanji is shocked to hear this. He's thinking to himself, they're coming here? And Brulee says that's the rendezvous point with their captain. But on the other hand, he's not going anywhere because he's still fighting Brother Katakuri. There's no way he's going to beat him. And 9 hours from now, the Straw Hats will arrive, waiting for a captain who won't show up. And coming to Cacao Island after them will be Brother Peros and Mama, who's still suffering from her hunger pangs. So it's a desperate situation still.
She's calling them on a Dendenmushi from the Mural world where shit's crashing in the background.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I was kind of confused by this. Like, why is Brule talking to them? And I mean, I guess
she heard the plan from the Straw Hats on the ship, so she's relaying that to them.
Right, but like I guess it's like, oh, does Brule realize that like Sanji is here? You know, he's obviously part of this cake baking thing, but he's kind of like, you know, he's back buddy with the Straw Hats again. He's not, you know, necessarily doing this to like help out the Charlotte family. I mean, maybe it's just a desperate enough situation that it doesn't matter. Like, she's going to help them figure it out. But it seemed a little weird with like the priorities that Brule would be having this conversation.
Brule doesn't know that Sanji's there.
I mean, but he's like talking in this conversation, like he's right there near the phone.
Well, it's more so he's talking to himself. I mean,
I think the implication is that it's like selective on whose voice gets heard.
Basically.
Okay.
All right, that would make a little more sense, I guess.
Sorry. Yeah, he is having a conversation with Chiffon, but let's not just assume transponder snails are like the same quality of Blue Yeti microphones.
Yeah. So Pudding's transponder snail is not on conference call mode here.
Right. And Steven, you translated this page. Don't you see all the gashunks and the toots?
That is true. It's a very noisy page.
Yes. One thing I would like to say is Oda could have not included a single sound effect on any of these panels in the factory, and just the way the equipment is drawn, just panel. The motion.
Look at the top panel; it's like bending.
Yeah, you don't need a sound effect to tell me. Like, you don't have to write down a sound effect to tell me how it sounds in there. It's a lot of tooting and stuff.
Yeah, it looks like the soda-powered car from Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is very Willy Wonka. Yeah.
All we need now is just like the Looney Tunes music of the bum 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 dun 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 dun. You know.
Oh, the Powerhouse song. Yeah.
Your standard conveyor belt music. We go back outside. This is Brule, still on the transponder snail. She says, like, but don't worry, those other Straw Hats won't be any match for Brother Oven and his forces. They're already over there. And someone's like, ooh, Master Oven. It's Master Oven. He says, what do you mean it's off limits? Even to me? Fourth son of the Charlotte Minister of Baking, Charlotte Oven? And someone says, no one's allowed in. Lady Pudding's orders. Well, if she says so, I'll honor it. But what's all the fuss out front then? And
I like how pompous he is. He's so pompous.
Most of the Charlottes are like ministers of a food, but he's just the minister of the concept of baking.
Yeah. I'm the minister of baking. That totally one-ups pudding, so I should be allowed. I should be overseeing the baking of this cake.
Like they're kids, like with arguing about whose power is stronger than whose.
Yeah, I kind of flubbed a little bit because it was like fourth son of Charlotte. And I'm like, oh, I thought there was more words there. I was expecting family, and then it just ended. We cut back to Brule. It says, yeah, this is still Brule saying, like, you need to help us stop Mama, Pudding. You're our only hope. Pudding Kenobi. Obi-Wan, Pudding. I don't know. She says, like, I've got this, Sister Brule. I'll make the greatest wedding cake ever to stop Mama in her tracks. And Brule wee-weed all the way home till she hung up. And then outside the factory, a little time has passed, and we see what's his name? What's it?
Pound?
Pound. Yeah, sorry, I forgot his name in the matter of minutes. He's he's sure he's sure putting the pound in pound as he's getting pounded to the ground by Oven. And he's like, "Oh, please stop the violence. I'm like a pacifist." And Oven's like, "Silence, creep." And Pound says, "Don't you remember me, Oven?" an oven with this cool shot from below with kind of like illuminating his face with some dark shadows. And he's like, "Of course I remember you, former stepfather. It's why I'm driving you off." And we got an interrobang from Pound, which would probably sound like, "Oh!"
So all this time we thought like Pound was going to be on a quest for revenge, that it was Big Mom who was going to go to Pound Town. But it turned out it was actually just Pound who was going to Pound Town.
The one
this
who
whole
got
time.
pounded was me. Pound. I should have seen this coming. And a little more time passes, and we have Chiffon, who's, everyone's still working hard amongst the kashanks and the toots and whatever these sounds these machines are making. She says, "I wonder who's making all that noise." And Sanji asks, "Are you curious?" And Pudding trots over. She's like, "Did you hear all that, Sanji dear? Luffy's in big trouble." And Pudding says, I can't believe he's fighting Brother Katakuri alone. That man is superhuman. He's got a 1 billion berry bounty. Oh yeah, so does that other guy. What's his name? Jack.
Jack.
It's like, I'm not impressed anymore. And she continues, "He's never lost a fight in his life. What should we do?" And Sanji, with this really cool turn to the camera and say something cool panel, says, "Well, there's a first time for everything. And it looks like today's his unlucky day." Yeah! I don't know. So,
It's the cheesiest line of all time, but it works.
but it's Sanji. He's like the king of cheese.
This is some good Sanji here.
It's Minister of Cheese. No,
Don't worry. Let's
there's a
just make
Minister
that
of
cake,
Cheese
baby.
already. It says, "Don't worry. Let's just make that cake."
Baby.
I really want Sanji to go on this big kind of like Black Dynamite kind of thing of just a bunch of cool rhymes.
No, he's not that talented.
No. And we see a bunch of steam and hearts, and we hear a flop as someone says, "Look out! There's steam coming out of Lady Pudding. Who put her in the oven?" And she yells, "I'm not baking. I'm in love. No, wait, I am in the oven."
It is love.
And
Sir, I
last,
represent the state of H. and demand that you immediately stop this unauthorized reproduction.
and on the final page, we zoom back to Sweet City, Whole Cake Island. Yes, it's the Mont d'Or crew, and they are trying to get a handle on the situation. Prospero is informing them that Mama is attacking Nuts Island, and yes,
Attacking Nuts
true.
Island?
It
That's
is.
Nuts Island.
That's Nuts Island. And meanwhile, they have trouble as one of the kind of random characters. We're going to find out that she has some dumb Charlotte family name that we are not aware of too. Comes up saying that there is trouble, and Montdor is like, "What do you mean? We've already got trouble." Yeah, he's
Right
like,
here in River City.
let's see, wow me here. And she says, "We have examined the sea floor and found something shocking." And it is indeed shocking, because in the next panel, Montor, Count Niwatori, and Peckham's are all agape. Every last territory sea slug is gone? What?
That's such a good Japanese panel. Just a Japanese comedy trope of
If we
everyone
all
doing
say
that.
the same sentence at the same
I love it.
time in the same cadence.
And leaning together.
It's, it's so tropey, but I love it.
All we need now
Yeah.
is just Golden Lion Shiki. Just go, "Hey!" Remember that guy?
Mm-hmm.
I gotta go watch Strong World again.
Good movie.
Yeah, some fart shoes. So yes, Montor demands to know, why are they dead? Well, I don't know. We don't know. And cue the tropical drums. And here's God. Of course, if we had Roger on this, he would have demanded to
Yeah.
sing this in a Sebastian voice.
He would have.
but
He would have fought for this page. I'm pretty sure he would have pulled a knife on us. And just be like,
yeah.
"No one's getting this page."
So yeah,
Does it even fit that melody though?
I don't know if the actual meter works or not, but I had to do a lot to make sure that this stuff was actually on message and also rhyming. So Some mystery singer is come sing a song with me, my little sluggy dears. Stop working, let the music fill your ears. Security, schmecurity, which I'm glad I got to do a something schmumthing.
I'm amazed you were able to find a word that rhymed with security.
Yeah, that's right. It's amazing. Reports, no time, but singing, that's divine. And we go out to sea where the crew is on the Sunny, and they're all kind of baffled. Like it's just there's nothing's going on. Like we're perfectly fine. There's no pursuers. Can't imagine what's going on. Nami concludes it must be a trap, but that's okay because Chopper, Carrot, and Brooke are all up on the lookout. And they are not going to let their guard down for a second, although it looks like they're only looking in 3 of the 4 cardinal directions. But and Jinbei is our transition. Makes me wonder if Aladdin and the others got away safely. I certainly hope so. Okay. And then we see, yes, the payoff that this is actually Charlotte Praline, the singer. And she is seducing all of these territory sea slugs with her singing voice. They are all in her spell. As Montdor, we have a little voiceover from Montdor. How can thousands and thousands of sea slugs just vanish? And someone's like, maybe they were kidnapped. By whom? And now those guys can get away scot-free. And she's singing, working is no way to spend your very hard-earned weekend. And so, yes, the Pied Piper here, the Pied Praline is luring all of the slugs away. So that is the answer to what Chopper was seeing, or was it Brooke? Who was it? It was Chopper, right? Yeah.
Chopper and Brooke, I think.
Yeah. Who was wondering if they were fishing. It turns out not entirely. They were slugging, I guess.
Look how small Aladdin is compared to Praline.
He's further back.
Yeah. There's some perspective going on. Yeah, he is small though.
Good chapter.
Yeah,
it's only missing one thing really.
And what's that?
Big Mom.
Yeah, no Big Mom. This chapter. I don't know. It's just it was a very it was half a fight chapter. But now we have
that fight was awesome though.
Oh yeah,
what we saw. My God, I'm so excited to see that in the anime. Granted, it's probably stretched out and stuff, but the choreography, the way Oda draws it, is so tight and so logical. You ever watch like a modern sort of action movie with all these quick cuts and you don't know what's happening? Like Oda's the opposite of that with the way he draws action.
I was about to say, I'm like, yeah, can we not do that?
Yeah.
Exactly. Like you can see, like he's spinning one direction. Like the way you talked about it, with him using his head to bounce up off of the floor. That's great stuff.
Mm-hmm. And hey, if Toei doesn't do a good job the first time around, we'll probably get a TV special eventually where they'll do a banging job.
So was
episode of Jinbei.
Yeah. So was anyone? I know we touched on it briefly, but was anyone like disappointed or like, wow, really? When they did the whole like, okay, here we are, back to square one. Let's start this, round one, start over.
I'm a sucker for that stuff. I love it when you get so close to accomplishing something and then it just completely resets and you gotta do it again. And I don't know, like that sort of delay of gratification stuff in One Piece I tend to be into.
I complain about it, but at this respect, I don't think that's actually true. Like that's what Katakuri wants to be true, but I think this fight is probably going to be over more quickly than we think.
Well, it's square one.
It's that moving goalpost feeling.
It's square one in the sense that now they each know what each other's like sort of capabilities are, where they didn't entirely before. So
it probably won't be like a Zoro Pika situation where this means that they can go at each other with one attack each and it could be over. But I don't think it'll go too much longer.
Yeah, I'm expecting.
I'm not upset by it at all because I'm pretty sure the fact that Katakuri didn't get his full snack time in, I think it's gonna catch up to him eventually. It's like, it's like I'm losing focus.
My hypoglycemia.
I should always have a giant donut, but I only had about a quarter of one. Oh, that's not enough sugar.
Yeah, I see. I think of this. I actually kind of like this, and normally I'm not that into, or at least the fight scenes, especially when it's just the action. Like they're always impressive. Oda has great choreography and such, but it's not necessarily something that I consider like my highlight of a chapter is like seeing, you know, what attacks get made or whatever. But the thing about this is that I feel like this is like it's kind of appropriate that Katakuri is kind of similar in temperament to Lucci, because I think that's kind of what this is. This is like Luffy versus Lucci, and Big Mom is the Buster Call. It's like this is the
I've made that comparison.
Yeah. This is like the one-on-one action that kind of occupies, and it has that kind of you know, the gratification and the satisfaction of seeing all the you know, the punches and the kicks and whatnot, while something bigger in the story is happening around them.
Right. It's like a very focused fight, and then there's just chaos on the outside.
Right.
That was where I caught up to reading the manga week to week. That's when I first caught up, and that was such a thrill. And I'm feeling kind of like that right now, even with this sort of delay of the fight. But the way the fight is going makes it so exciting.
It's like, okay, if we're gonna have a couple pages of Luffy and Katakuri fighting and not, you know, reaching a conclusion, I think in this context that's way more satisfying than having 10 chapters of, you know, Luffy being stuck in a snake's butthole or something. You know, like this is a good plot based reason to kind of delay Luffy solving the problem with force or whatever.
That's until Katakuri
it works
makes two big mochi walls. Like, I found your weakness.
Oh God, don't say that. Well, I mean, he's done that already, and Luffy ate his way out. So that's the weakness here, is that everything is food in this arc. So Luffy can eat his way out of any problem.
And he's become aware of the problem, and he's annoyed by it, apparently.
Yeah.
Maybe he just doesn't like eating mochi, I think is the problem.
Maybe.
David, do you have any final thoughts?
Me?
Yeah.
I like the fighting a lot. I like that the Luffy's solution to Katakuri's invincibility was fairly simple. Like everyone else was talking about, like, oh, is he gonna upgrade Gear 4 with some strategy? And I don't think we're ready for new developments in Gear 4 yet. So I like the simplicity to that. I like anything in a fight that really puts you in like the fighter's shoes and like makes you think about how exhausting it would be to deal with each other. So I think that stuff is really strong. The part I feel weird about right now is like that sort of dissonance between, like, we've got Luffy versus Katakuri, and then we've got Pudding helping Sanji, and like there's like this almost like when Oven shows up, it almost feels like you could almost like solve part of this issue just by putting like just sitting him down and like explaining what's going on and being like, okay, we need to stop big. Like I'm trying to, it's like a real knot that I'm trying to figure out, where it's like you've got part of the Charlotte family who are more focused on calming Big Mom down, and then there's a part of the Charlotte family that is focused on defeating the Straw Hats, and like I'm not sure if they're lining up right now. I don't know. Like just like having Pudding here and having Pudding being for most of the chapter being like really straight faced and helpful to Sanji. I don't know. I'm having a really hard time articulating what this knot is, but then having Pound show up and like knowing that there's already kind of a triangle between Pudding, Chiffon, and Lola. So if Pound entering the story gets us more sort of backstory between the Charlotte family and like the sisters' relationships with each other, I look forward to that.
Yeah, I feel like the Pound stuff is like it must be leading up to something, because you know we knew okay so if he is Lola's dad and Chiffon's dad, that he, you know, there has to be some more use for his character other than just being you know, the weirdo who gave them the right directions in the seducing woods. So you know, I'm glad to see that, but it's like it's still not quite clear how that's all going to work out, especially given that, you know, the last thing you see of him here is that, oh, well, clearly he's not persuading Oven at all, of, you know, how to, you know, kind of have everyone work together synergistically to stop this catastrophe that's unfolding. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, on the other hand, like as far as what the Charlotte family is doing, I think probably one of the benefits, one of the factors of her having such a huge family is that she can have some of her kids working on one task while others work on another, and clearly they're used to having this very powerful and very controlled territory, what with the slugs and the tart bases and all of these things. So I think it's probably second nature for them to try to close in on any hostile threat within their territory. But it seems like more of the upper, like the higher echelon, the elder children are more directly focused on trying to get Big Mom back to her right mind. I don't know. It's like it's kind of like a prisoner's dilemma thing. It's like, okay, well, if all of them work with the Straw Hats to fix the problem, it doesn't change the fact that like they still have this sort of pride of their emperor status that was overcome by this band of upstarts and the insult of that, and the threat that it poses to them, and all that stuff. So they would still, I feel like they would still probably attempt to they would still want to deal with the Straw Hats after that gets done. So that's where I feel like there's still some story developments left to.
Yeah, and also those children are more invested in the Big Mom organization maintaining its power because they're the ones who are the highest up and stand to benefit the most from it continuing. So it makes more sense that Lola and Chiffon, and the interesting connection of why there is a connection between Lola and Chiffon, that we understand, they're sisters, but why do they have a connection to Pudding when we don't see that much of a connection always between other siblings in this family, or why
we get the impression that everyone everyone in the family is like cool with Pudding, like they treat her like the she's Mom's favorite child, and they seem to respect her to a degree.
That's true.
Yeah.
So it's like if most of the Charlotte family are all antagonists and Luffy and the Straw Hats are the good guys, and then Pudding's like in this gray spot right now, but she's playing she's by baking this cake, she's playing Team Charlotte right now.
Mm-hmm.
Even though that may not be what her ultimate goal is, which is mostly just to stop Big Mom from terrorizing everyone.
Right.
Steve, do you have any final thoughts?
I say I for one am enjoying the Luffy and Katakuri fight. I'm kind of glad Steven made the comparison to the fight with Lucci, because it is really just like a knockdown dragon fight. I forget what the phrase is.
Mm-hmm.
Knock down, drag out, slobber knocker.
Yes.
Yep.
Well, someone stop the damn match. I'm really enjoying it. I'm glad Oven's doing something. I felt like he seemed very important, and he's hardly done anything yet. Like I do enjoy Sanji's kind of kitschy, cheesy moment, but it's classic Sanji to kind of be like the cool head in some of these situations, and also he was drawn very well, so just wanted to point that out. But it's fun. I'm really curious what's going to happen. I'm pretty sure Chiffon is going to open the door to see Pound getting pounded to death, and I'm sure it's going to make things complicated. Ooh, does this mean
that's a good scenario? Actually, I like that. Yeah.
Man, what if Sanji fights Oven?
I think there's been some speculation about that.
In a way, it kind of
makes in a piece together. Yeah.
If you want to be poetic with how Luffy and Katakuri's powers are very similar.
Heat versus fire.
Yeah, because Sanji was Diablo Jambe is very similar to Oven's powers.
And that would be a good chance to really kind of draw a clear kind of line on what the difference between what Oven's goal for the family is and what Pudding's goal is.
True.
And how embarrassing it would be for a man who has the powers of the Oven to be defeated by a mere normal man who just happens to light his leg on fire.
It's got the hot foot with the matches under it.
I don't want to get too carried away, but I would love to see that. But One Piece has been great. I haven't been on enough, so I haven't been able to stress that. But I do like earlier, like we were talking about Luffy getting stuck between walls. this is a great
Snake special.
this is a much different approach to that kind of concept, but at least it feels like Luffy's actually doing something instead of the whole being the Goku of the story of being stuck in the healing chamber and all this other stuff, or or being passed out from having a near heart attack. This is much better than that, so that's why I don't mind it. It's like this fight is really great. So, but I'm not saying I want it to end soon, but I honestly thought we were about maybe 2 chapters away from this fight wrapping up. But we still have what, 9-10 hours before he's supposed to rendezvous with Nami
that's the thing. There's plenty of room for him to keep fighting.
Yeah, so I don't see his fight wrapping up shortly. I'm with Oven now involved. I think this is getting a lot more messier, but it just means a lot more fun for us. So good chapter. I enjoyed it.
All right.
Cool. Then
Good chapter.
All right, then why don't we get right into that anime recap?
All right.
This is the anime recap for episode 812, Invading the Chateau, Reach the Road Poneglyph. I'm your host Sam, and today with me we have, once again, Ed. How's it going, Ed?
It's going all right. How are you doing, Sam?
I'm doing pretty good. I feel like I got a good night's sleep for the first time in a while. So
That's good. Was the dog you were babysitting a big help?
yeah, I think that was. I mean,
It's always good to have a dog around.
I mean, you always imagine that sleeping with a dog next to you is just going to be the best, but then they've always got a very specific spot that they want to sleep. So it's sometimes more trouble than it's worth. The title card this week begins at 4 minutes and 14 seconds, and we open with Sanji looking out the rainy window as it's raining on Whole Cake Island. We get flashbacks to some of the events that have happened throughout this arc. It's pretty quick, so it doesn't feel like they're just buying time. And he's thinking to himself, "All right, everyone, please stay safe," because he has decided they're going to go separate ways, but he still hopes that they have a good, long, healthy life. Luffy is waking up and he realizes that he is in a prison. His arms are like posted above his head.
one more thing I did want to say about the music in Sanji's scene.
Oh yeah,
it goes really good.
It's
I didn't recognize it as much.
they
It's not
returned. It's a track that they used at the end of Luffy versus Sanji. It's like it's coming back to that song. He's got his hands posted above his head with a big pin in it. This is the power of Charlotte Montdor. He's his vision is blurry, and he sees on the other side of the bars. He sees the Charlotte family, basically just the people who were beating him up the episode before. They're all hanging out on a couch and watching Luffy and Nami be imprisoned, and they're like all gleeful about it. I like how on the inside of the book you see like English written out, but it's basically just Romaji. It's just like
it's surprisingly like I recognized a little bit of it.
Well, yeah, like I was making a joke on Twitter about how it's like, oh hey look, it's the script for the new chapter on Manga Stream. Because it was basically just entirely, Romanized Japanese words that I recognized. Like it's Mugiwara, Kaizoku, Ningen, Gyojin, Gyojin Island, and they spelled Whole Cake Island, but some like when you recognize the words, they're like spelt wrong. Like Whole Cake is the wrong whole, and Cracker is spelt without a K in the middle. So we come to the mirror world where Carrot and Chopper are doing their stuff. I like how in this episode we finally get like some real developments in the mirror world storyline.
It was still kind of a jip though. There's a cliffhanger.
Yeah, but I mean like something changed, and
you do like 2 segments of it, and I have more problems with like all over the place sort of episodes, but I feel like everything they did had impact because it can feel like not much is going on sometimes when they do these episodes, but this episode wasn't so bad. It's pretty good.
Yeah. We'll get to that at the end, but I like we've got We've got like a chicken and a frog carrot. I like how the chicken carrot basically looks like she's mocking them, going bark, 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 bark with their arms in little triangles.
Has anyone in the Charlotte family ever even seen what a chicken looks like?
Exactly. That's what I was thinking about. Chopper's whispering to Carrot, "Hey, I need your ear," and we see her little ear twitch in his direction to get to listen better. The fight breaks out again, but the animals are attacking their own reflection, and Brule is getting mad at them for being idiots.
So that the gig is just that they're stupid, right? Like there wasn't anything.
I think
it's not a trick that Chopper's playing. Like, how is he playing a trick? It's in her
no,
world.
No, the trick isn't even really revealed in this episode. I don't think.
Right. Well, that's a different trick. This trick is just that the animals are stupid.
Yeah. We see Brooke's ghost moving through walls. He's wandering through this hall, and he reaches the treasure repository of the Whole Cake Chateau.
There's a great deal of exposition.
Yes,
but it was Baron Tamago, so I didn't mind it as much.
And it's a cool subject. We see that in this big library of Big Moms, they've got behind more prison bars 2 blue regular poneglyphs and 1 red one above them. And so it's like, wow, what information? What other information do they have other than the road poneglyph? And Baron Tamago is catching the audience up, reminding us how these poneglyphs work. There's 4 red ones. I like the visuals that come with it. Like we see the red ones.
What's up with those 9 other poneglyphs in the bottom left? Is that the Rio poneglyph? Is that what that's supposed to be? Why are those 9 set apart in the image?
I wasn't sure.
In the bottom left, because the road poneglyph, the red ones were in the top right of the diagram. In the bottom left, there's like a line box around 9.
Yeah, I guess I didn't think about it too much. I just assumed that they were talking about either the ones that they have or the ones that they know the whereabouts of.
Okay,
that would make sense to me.
Normally, they've never really said so.
Yeah, but they lay it out in a pretty clean way, and we are introduced to Charlotte Smoothie, who's one of the Sweet 3 alongside Cracker. She has a 932 million bounty. And we see her ridiculous. Like picking up a girl and squeezing her into a giant wine glass.
I don't remember it being this vulgar. You
could only have assumed, like Smoothie definitely has that kind of an edge to her.
Mm-hmm. It's the person who shrivels up makes noises,
stuff like that. Baron Tamago, he's talking about the poneglyph that Jinbei gave to them earlier, which you would have known about if you read the manga and followed the cover stories. I think this is the first we're really hearing about it in. No, they mentioned it when Jinbei showed up on Whole Cake.
I love that Jinbei is like, "Hey, I got you this gift," pointing at it with his.
I loved it, and you see Wadatsumi in the background.
Yeah, it's my gift too. That's right.
Yeah. So Smoothie is guarding the poneglyphs because Baron Tamago knows that a certain Pedro is here, and the Big Mom family seems to have some sort of history with Pedro. So they're like, okay, Pedro and poneglyphs is a bad combination. Let's keep them apart.
Right.
And then we come back to Brooke returns to his body.
Did they explain, was this the same scene where they explain 5 years ago and Peckham saved his life, basically?
Maybe.
Okay.
Brooke and Pedro, Brooke returns to his body and he has a conversation with Pedro. He's like, okay, so there's this woman named Smoothie who looks really strong. We're probably no match for her. Pedro, if Luffy's gonna be king of the pirates, we really have to go for this road poneglyph. Pedro, do you mind?
Solid scene, right?
Yeah, and Brooke is asking Pedro, do you mind being bait? Like they barely know each other, but Pedro's like, yep, I can do that.
That's what I was thinking. It's interesting. That was such a good way they pan from, the camera pans from Brooke's face to Pedro's face in that scene, and goes right into the bumper. So it really puts a dot on the sentence.
Yeah. So we return to the mirror world. Carrot is now tied up and being held over a boiling pot. There's the alligator man there who's talking about how it was like he normally doesn't like eating humans, but maybe a rabbit girl would be different. And then there's we hear
the pot, boiling.
Yeah, but in the scene, decorating the scene, is a little sound effect that goes a little something like ghetto. Ghetto. We don't know what that's about yet. But yeah, the alligator and the Diesel, the train man, they're going boil, and it's a little annoying.
Yeah, it's no, it's the it's not just him. It's the pot himself.
Oh right. So we come to another library. I guess there's just a lot of libraries in this chateau. Big Mom is pulling out a book because she's got something to show her guests, the Vinsmokes. It is a book with a bunch of rare animals in it. There's just like you open it up and there's just an animal pinned to the page, like a giant monster.
Yeah.
She's got a manticore. She's got.
You can see how big the library is, just like how small Big Mom and Germa look in it from so far away. Like, how big is this library?
And she's showing off her rare collection of creatures, which includes people like long legs that she finds interesting, and she talks about like a centaur from Punk Hazard. Even the Vinsmokes are a little weirded out by this. They're like, like, is this okay? Is this cool?
And like a Doskoi panda is one of them. But it's interesting with the long leg person, they don't show him fully. They show his legs sticking out of a book from like a side view or like a rear view.
Yeah,
and it's creepy. It makes it seem,
help me.
Makes it seem so much worse.
I think we passed the part because there was a panda man in this episode.
Oh no, he was in the treasure room.
Yeah, with where Tamago and Smoothie were. So Judge is now asking her a question like, okay, so I see that there's a lot of races on this in this country. Like I've seen just about all of them, and Big Mom is
before you finish this scene. Before this scene, there's like 2 seconds of Yonji walking up to a book that says zoo and getting snapped at by a crocodile. They show him.
There was like a T-Rex in one of them.
Well, that comes a little bit later, but this scene is just like 2 seconds of like he gets snapped at, and then Big Mom and Judge start having a conversation.
Yeah,
I thought it was funny.
So Judge is saying like, yeah, I've seen all these different kinds of races around here, and Big Mom is very proud. She's like, yes, that's the kind of place that Total Land aspires to be. And then he follows up by saying, but there's one race that I don't think I've seen, and I'm pretty sure if there was one around, I would have seen them by now. And Big Mom stops. Like I love how like Big Mom is like waving her arms, like, yes, it's so great. Isn't Total Land a great place? And he's like, where are the giants? And then she just like freezes.
Well, no, but she makes this horrible face, which she'll make, which she'll make again in a second, and we'll get to this guy. But
I just love the sound she makes when this is brought up. She's just like, eh.
But then her face like shifts, and she's like, "Well, I guess you haven't met one then." Yeah, and she sort of smiles at him after giving him this upside down look.
I just love the disgust on her face. Like her ego is so wounded right now. So yeah, she's like, yeah, you just haven't seen one yet. And Judge, for some reason, accepts this, even though he already said that like he would have seen one by now because they're so big.
And that's where the extra tacked on scene of Yonji getting barked at by a Tyrannosaurus is, which is it feels even more out of place because he wasn't even in the background of that scene. Like the first one, you just see him in the background. He gets barked at by a crocodile, and the second one, they add a 3-second scene of him going up to another book and getting barked at by a Tyrannosaurus.
So a guard runs in.
This guy
to alert Big Mom of about Luffy, and he sees the Vinsmokes and he freezes up. He's starstruck, and then as he's leaving Big Mom out of the room,
over animated. This scene was way over animated.
Yeah, like we sweep over all the Vinsmokes, like and how cool they are, and the guard is like, oh no, those are the Vinsmokes. They're so cool. He's especially into Ichichi and Reiju.
They're so cool.
Yeah, they're so cool.
She gives him the same look.
Yeah.
She gave Judge of like, what's wrong with you? How foolish you are to be influenced by a comic strip.
So this connects us to we're back on Luffy's side. They're opening their book back up. They find him on page 55 is where Luffy and Nami's prison is. It's like a weird MC Escher, like how does this even work kind of thing. So they place this big transponder snail that looks like Big Mom in front of the jail bars, and Big Mom starts talking, and she's like, it's appropriate that we are talking again, isn't it, Straw Hat Luffy? Because the last time they spoke was at the end of Fishman Island, again through the phone, so they have yet to see each other face to face. And there's this cool like split screen effect as like we see Big Mom's eye on one side and the transponder snail's eye on the other side.
That was pretty awesome.
And she's given this smack talk to him, the usual villain thing, but Luffy, even though Luffy is like clearly the loser in this scenario, he's tied up, he's got he's got nothing to brag about in this scenario, but he's just like, no, you come here and fight me face to face. I'm still gonna kick your ass. Like he's still talking like that. Which I love.
Let me out so I can fight you.
Yeah,
Luffy, come on.
Yeah, I'm gonna fight you right here and now, and that's how the episode ends. Any general thoughts, Ed?
I mean, I haven't enjoyed it as much as like the last 3 episodes, but there was a lot in here to like. Especially the Germa Big Mom. Big Mom is great in just about every scene that she's in. That early Sanji scene with the piano, which sort of recapped last week, but I liked last week's material, so that jived with me. And also, I love the Brook and Pedro stuff, so I'm sort of excited to see where they go with that stylistically, because it could be like a spy kind of movie.
Yeah, this was an episode that I enjoyed a lot. Like this is. I liked it a lot more than the past 3, and it looks fine. Like it's not like superly well, and it's like it's not exceptional production wise, but it's the kind of episode that like after the show was so sluggish for like the last 3 episodes, having one where every scene is like moving the story forward or is expanding the scope of the arc, really goes a long way with me. Like it's just exciting to know that there are other subplots that are moving, and that like with the Brook and Pedro stuff, it's like, oh yeah, that's right, we got the road poneglyph in this arc. That's a big deal, and it just makes you excited to see what's going to happen next. So
normally I agree
it felt
with you.
packed. Like I don't know if we're still. I'm still not sure if we're at a chapter per episode. But I really thought it felt like there was a lot going on in this episode. Like all the subplots we visit move forward.
Yeah, normally I'd agree with you, but I'm so much more interested in what's going on in the Luffy, Nami, Sanji, and Big Mom and Pudding area that I don't know. I was really enjoying the last 3 episodes as slow as they were, and normally I'm a person who complains about that stuff, but I don't know, just not this stuff. And in general,
like even from the manga, I love this like smack talk conversation between Luffy and Big Mom on the phone. And it's spilling over into the next week's episode a bit, but like I think that's a great moment. I just love seeing Luffy, against an impossible scenario. Like it's impossible that he can beat Big Mom, but he's gonna figure out a way, isn't he?
So that's why we watch the anime and see what happens next.
All right, I think that should do it. Thank you, Ed. Let's move on to the next segment.
Sounds good.
This is the Piece Together segment, where we take your questions, comments, and theories, and we'll talk about them in a segment called Piece Together. Nailed it. All right.
Yep.
We'll start with our favorite segment, and that is Ed. DSPs. And our very own Ash asks a very long question. So last week, Adil submitted a question about Zunisha's wanderings, and I may have potential answer theory. Given the given the obvious similarity in names between Zunisha and Ganesha, elephant-headed god in Hinduism, in case you haven't watched The Simpsons, you uncultured swine. I did that. That's me talking, by the way, not Ash. I did some research and came across The Race Around the World. Basically, it's a tale about how Ganesha and his brother, Kartikeya, if you want to attempt saying it, I did. Competed to see who could race around the world 3 times in order to win a divine fruit that would grant the user supreme knowledge and immortality. Maybe Zunisha was ordered to wander the world until she gained the wisdom to understand the severity of her crime. I've got a longer theory connected to the story, but I'm saving that for an editorial. Good. So I don't have to verbally read it. Sorry, Ash. What do you guys think about that?
Okay, so if there was like a race around the world, and Zunisha was like bound, like honor bound by some crime or something to do it. Maybe the crime was that Zunisha lost the race, and
Mm-hmm.
it's like in Mario Kart when you're playing like Rainbow Road or something,
Hold
and
on a second.
like Zunisha just keeps going the wrong way or like not, and you're forced to finish the race. No, you have to do all 3 laps. You got to keep going. You can't stop until you get to the end.
I was just looking at the wiki for Ganesha, and he is the god of new beginnings and the remover of obstacles, which further lends credence to my theory of the elephants moving the continents.
You
Oh,
were
I
right,
thought you were
Ganesh.
gonna say,
Ganesh
like,
is graceful.
Jack was just an obstacle. So, boosh, out of the way.
That
I mean,
that's
of sorts.
Yeah.
Would it be kind of messed up though if like Sunisha talking to Luffy and the other kid? It's been a while.
Momonosuke.
Yeah, Momonosuke. I almost said Ryonosuke, but that was the drawing. It's like, help me, just give me the word, so I could win a race and get a stupid prize. Be kind of messed up, but I see this. This is definitely like a form of punishment, but it would be kind of cool if, like, yeah, I didn't win the race, so I have to keep my cardio going.
Yeah. What's next?
Next one is from Windfire. They say, since your 500th episode is coming up and you guys were asking for suggestions, why not have Ed do promo similar to the ones he did when the podcast first began? Wow. Sorry.
those were fun. I'd like to use my old timey announcer voice again.
I'm not,
I could edit those.
The One Piece podcast. See,
but they're not done yet. What else does Windfire say? I don't think anyone could get enough of Ed's voice. Clearly not Ed, but I also have an actual question. Since Praline's voice is supposedly so wonderful, it lured all the sea slugs to her. Is it possible that if she sang above water, it would sound absolutely horrible, since sound behaves differently in and out of water? I feel like this may become a bit of a gag when the Sun Pirates know her voice is good, but everyone else thinks it's absolutely terrible. To me, Praline is very how could I put this and not sound offensive? She's to me, she comes off as a very southern gal. Like, what isn't she a redhead? Her color scheme was recently revealed.
well,
right?
she's got the freckles, and she's sort of, I don't know, kind of awkward looking, but she's a hammerhead shark. So there isn't much way she could look normal, you know.
I could see her as an aspiring country singer. She's the Reba McEntire of the One Piece universe.
There you go.
But I do like that theory of her not sounding the same above water.
Yeah,
Funny.
That's funny. Yeah.
not everyone's a country fan, so
I like both kinds, country and western.
Mm-hmm.
let's see. And yeah, that's it. Everyone else is just agreeing with Windfire, so we agree with you as well. We think that'd be a funny little gag. But why don't we
Emails, Steve.
Yes, I'm going to take it over to the emails.
All right.
We have a couple here. This one is from Just Martin. It says, to your One Piece podcast, do you think that maybe after all the damage being done to Toto Land, that some other outside force will take advantage of the chaos and take out Big Mom? I could see Blackbeard invading Whole Cake Island to seize the road poneglyph once he catches wind of what the Straw Hats did there. Or maybe the Marines will see this as their opening to take out Big Mom. The Emperors and the Marines are natural enemies, like the Straw Hats and the Marines, or the Warlords and the Marines, or Cypherpole and the Marines, or the Marines and the other Marines.
No, but the government and the Marines
they
in general
ruined
have.
Marineford. Sorry.
The government and the Marines have an interest in maintaining order in the world.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that they would be more inclined to prop up.
Although maybe not in Akainu's regime.
Well, that's
Yeah.
more of oh god, blind fellow. That's more of his thing,
Fujitora?
isn't it? Fujitora of smashing the system and
Right,
getting
right,
to one of the four emperors. That's more of his deal, but I can also see Akainu doing it because they're pirates and fuck them, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like the big like power clashes are being saved for like a Wano.
Yeah, and remember when Kaido and Shanks went head to head during Marineford? That's something that they would have been involved with, but they couldn't deal with at that moment because, of course, Marineford was happening. But I think, yeah, It's one thing for the warlords to kind of fall, but yeah, as soon as an emperor falls, it really throws the power game off. So I don't think
Mm-hmm.
I don't think the Navy would be big on taking down Big Mom. In terms of Blackbeard, man, word would have to travel pretty fast. But then again, Big News Morgan is there, so
Yeah, I feel like it's almost a guarantee that Blackbeard is going to do just what was described in one of the Emperor arcs. I just don't know which one, but I want to see it because I think that's going to be awesome. Like that's got to be the next logical step to propping up his his menace in the story. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
cool. And our last email is from Tariq, and they ask, I have noticed that a lot of the community seems to think that if Luffy doesn't have some new form during his fight with Katakuri, they will be upset. It has been 2 arcs since we were introduced to fourth gear, and he shouldn't need some new gear until Kaido. I don't think we'll get something particularly new, but most likely just a unique way in which something we've seen before is used. Yeah, I think people shouldn't get their feathers all rough.
Yeah, I don't want too many. I don't want too many gears.
Yeah,
It's also, I mean, what, like Katakuri also isn't the real final boss of this. Like,
Mhm.
there's no way.
Yeah.
Like, it's an arc where they're getting away. This isn't an arc where they're crushing their enemies.
Yeah.
Right.
yeah. It's fourth gear is still very fresh. I'm sure Luffy will find a creative way of taking out Katakuri, like he did with Cracker. So
There's so many more like cool things that Oda can do with Gear 4, I'm sure, that are percolating in his head that we haven't seen yet. And so yeah, you don't want to cut that short.
agreed. That's gonna be it for emails. Steven, why don't you take us over to Reddit?
All right, we will start with Yeoman Axel, who says, while we now know why Katakuri wears his scarf, it still doesn't explain the rest of his biker look. I believe that Katakuri is actively trying to make himself feel cool because he can't bear to face the reality that he is, for all his strength, just a middle-aged man living with his mother.
That's right.
Good.
It was revealed
Yeah.
that he's like 50, isn't it? Isn't he? Or
Is
like
it? Is
48?
that in the new volume
SBS,
SBS?
yeah. I
Okay,
think he's like 48 or 50 or
Oh,
something.
boy.
Like
that's pretty hilarious.
Big chocolate donuts. Do you live with your mother? She lives with me.
that.
Oh man.
Is he married? You'd think so, but you've never seen any of their spouses.
Yeah.
That's true.
Our next question will be from DDDD Freed. Hey, OP power players, make your ideal boy band using One Piece characters. Do not include Brook because he's a diva and can't share the stage with others.
Okay. Let's try to
Boy
narrow
band.
this
I was just
down.
picking. I was just picking the prettiest boys.
Well, we got to narrow it down to the archetypes because each member
yeah,
of the boy band
yeah.
has an archetype.
The pretty
like,
boy is Cavendish. The bad boy
Yes.
is Bartolomeo.
Uh,
He's the AJ.
yeah,
Or
he's the AJ.
yeah, that's the
yeah.
only one I can. But yeah,
Uh,
and Cavendish is the Nick Carter.
okay, we're gonna go with Backstreet Boys. All right. So
Those are the only ones I know. Or Justin Timberlake. He's one. No, he's the other.
no,
one.
he's
Okay.
in sync.
He's out of sync. He's not at this point.
All right, 5 is a good number, so we got 2. It's Cavendish and Bartolomeo. What else we got? We need the big brother. We need the big brother. Ooh.
Haruden, if we're going with the.
No, stop naming freaking Straw Hat Fleet characters. We're just naming the Straw Hat Fleet.
Well, I just figured if we were going to stick with a theme.
Are you saying the Straw Hat Fleet are a boy band?
Jim Bay
saying
is
they're
the
a
older
boy band.
brother.
Your brother Jinbei. I don't want to use Straw Hats. I want to use supporting characters. Man,
Fukaboshi is the older brother. He's the boring one.
I feel like he's already in a boy band.
Yeah.
Sorry guys, I don't want to move to the next question. I'm thinking really hard
Tilestone
on
is
this.
the older brother.
Bellamy would also have been a good bad boy, I think.
Yeah, Bellamy's a good bad boy.
Hmm.
I mean, if
Who's
there's going to be a JT type character, like the guy who has a solid career on his. I mean, wouldn't that just
Yeah,
be
right.
Sanji? Like, because he's like the coolest main guy.
He's the leader of the band.
Yeah.
There you go. That's a good boy band.
I want.
We have one more. We have one more.
I really want Gadatsu in it because Gadatsu would like to forget to. It's like Gadatsu. You have to open your mouth to sing.
But he does the best pose of the group.
I like it.
There you go.
So
Gadatsu, Tileston, Cavendish, Bartolomeo, and Sanji.
Yeah.
That's a good boy band.
I was going to just suggest like one more for the guy who gets kicked out because he gets on drugs or something, but I don't know. I don't know if anybody fits that on One Piece. Anyways, okay, we've spent enough time on that. Sailor Karna wants to know, what is the weirdest way to get someone to read One Piece? I think I just got my friend to read/watch it because she wants to plan a baby shower with me, and I told her it has to be One Piece themed all the way.
I'm 30. That doesn't happen to me very often.
I mean, I've made that deal with friends that like, oh, I'll watch this thing if you watch this thing, and then they have to deal with the fact that my thing is very long.
Yeah, that didn't work out so well for Zach.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. With his,
I feel like that's kind of the only way that you actually get people to read One Piece is you just make a deal with them. It's not that really that weird.
Deal with the devil.
Yeah.
Listen, you get 10 free back rubs if you finish Dressrosa, all right?
Yep, one for each volume.
You're gonna need it 'cause that's a lot of sitting.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
exactly.
Yeah, it is 10
All
volumes.
works.
I'm looking at my shelf right now.
Yep.
almost
All
on
right.
the nose, I think.
Yeah. Mondelli has a question. Name a Japanese wrestler that reminds you of a One Piece character. Ed and Steve, take it away.
I'm sorry, what was the question?
Name a Japanese wrestler that reminds you of a One Piece character.
Okay.
Aside from the ones who are obviously based off of them, like Stanson and Abdullah and Jeet, that's a good question.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Also,
I
those
wish
guys
this
count
was
as
something
Japanese
I
wrestlers.
saw last week, so I could just like prepare.
It's a good question.
Come on, Ed, help me out here. Gotta name one at least.
I don't know. They don't really look like. People shouldn't ask this question. They should watch Tiger Mask instead. That's a good answer.
Let's just think about some top guys. Like Naito was on my mind. I was trying to pin down a One Piece character. He's like,
It's kind of like Crocodile, really.
really?
I think so. The way he's brought together his team, and he's got like he had dreams at one point, but now he is like the evil like organization leader and this sort of failed ace, and the way he's doing his anti-hero shtick now that he's sort of turned good, but he's still kind of an anti-hero guy. That's what he reminds me of.
I gotcha. Okay. All right. Yeah, I like that. That's one.
See, that was pretty good.
Kenny,
think we could-
Kenny Omega and Kid.
Oh yeah, I can see that. They're very theatrical.
Yeah, very theatrical, anti-establishment, weird crew of
Leather pants.
of people in leather pants. Yeah. Yeah. Let's go. Let's go with those two. I'm sorry, that was.
I think we came up with some good stuff there at the end. Yeah. What's the next one, Steve?
All right. Next one is from Gentleman Bastard, who says, I recently watched Roger's Dragon Theory video where he mentions the Revolutionary Army potentially crashing the Reverie. I was just wondering what you all think about that happening.
Gentleman Bastard is also Ash, I think, right?
Is it? Oh, is he subverting our rules around only one question, only one
Is that a
form
rule?
of I'm just okay. I have not watched this video, so I don't know the particulars, but
No, I don't.
as far as the general concept of the Revolutionary Army crashing the Reverie, I mean, like
They were like last we saw them. Their stuff had been wrecked.
Yeah, they're kind
That
of on
is-
the run, aren't they?
that is true, but on the other hand, like the Reverie and when they were talking about Dragon and stuff, that seems like the only time where anything has ever like actually tied into the
Mhm.
revolutionaries. Like, I mean, we don't see them doing stuff other than like, oh, here's, Sabo, or here's Luffy's dad, like
Right.
stuff like that.
Get
So
that
I
thing
feel
I
like
sent you.
I feel like that would be a good, way that seems like a likely place for them to come back into the story in a big
I
way.
think something that's on people's minds is I think there was a One Piece game announced recently, and like the tease is like Marie Joie on fire. Like, oh, Marie
Yeah,
Joie's
that's right. That's right. They just announced that yesterday, I think, or in this issue of Jump in Japan, maybe.
something like that.
Yeah,
That would be weird if that was
yeah. Although I don't
if,
know
if they were
how
like revealing real story details in the game.
yeah, I don't know how I feel about like tying in, canon like important story stuff to a spin-off media project. So we'll see.
I mean, if they did attack the Reverie would probably be a little longer than we're expecting it to be.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, I don't think that we're going to get out of Whole Cake Island by the end of the year. That seems pretty certain by now.
That's
Yeah. We'll move on to Reynard, not a fox, who would like to give a belated congratulations to Steven. Thank you. And to apologize for last week's Neo Yokio question. Apology accepted. Hearing you guys gush about Big News Morgans has constantly left me perplexed. Recently, I've come to this realization. I think Oda created Morgans to reflect a subset of One Piece fans that OPP belongs to, fans and journalists/media outlets. The fact that you guys resonate well with Morgans means the intent has worked and shows that Oda knows his fan base well. I don't know that I would agree with that reasoning. I mean, I think the reason we liked him is because he's a giant bird who talks. And, I mean,
He looks like Big Bird's Spanish cousin.
Yeah. And because it's kind of hilarious that a giant bird would own the news coups and the all that stuff that we've seen a million times in the series. So.
I'm still really holding out. I really hope he's green. I want him to be green.
We're gonna find out, I guess.
We'll probably find out soon. Right? Yeah. This week
Like
was the book in the anime.
The prison book.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, not too long. All right, we will move on to Cifron, who says, I was in a lively chat in the IGN anime group. Oh boy.
Cool.
Good luck. About Devil Fruit's powers being broken. A lot of the arguments provided were not really persuading me. For example, the Quake fruit is broken because it causes earthquakes. To me, that Devil Fruit fits in with the rest of the rules of the series. Usopp with the Quake fruit would be significantly weaker than Whitebeard with it. I was wondering if you guys agree or disagree. What do you consider a broken Devil Fruit?
Well, I mean, I never really understand the concern with the concept of a character being broken.
These people have problems.
It just means that something is really powerful, like more powerful than which is communicated pretty clearly.
Discussing the rules of magic is one of my least favorite aspects of fandom.
Well, it's not even that. It's not only like are we picking apart like the internal logic. It's like picking apart like, oh, this character is too strong, therefore it's not good storytelling or something.
It's like when wrestling fans don't like the level of someone's push.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could argue that Eneru might be a case of that because he would have been he would have been he could have been way more powerful, except that Luffy just happened to be his natural enemy. So you could frame it I could understand if someone was like, well, that kind of cheapens like Luffy's victory in a sense because he just happened to have the lucky defense against that. I mean, it doesn't.
But then there's
there's
a narrative poetry to that I like. Then that
and they also set up Eneru from the beginning as being he's going to destroy this land and go to the moon. And what he's really focused on is going to the moon. The rest of it he doesn't care about so much.
Right.
And so it makes sense that he just leaves at the end.
I think if there's anything that's like worthy of being called broken, it's not the powerful stuff. It's the like weird things that affect the entire plot of this arc. It's stuff like Sugar's power and perhaps Katakuri's power. Like if he doesn't take steps to limit the scope of them, because then you start getting into the like, well, why didn't he just do this, or why didn't he just do that? And stuff like that can get a little weird, and sometimes I think he can be a little sloppy with that stuff, but he's usually pretty good about like declaring where the boundaries are and what the limit of where their involvement in the story is going to be. So yeah, that's what bothers me more than anything else, I guess I would say.
Okay.
CJ de Elf wants to know, what are your thoughts? Okay, so we did kind of talk about this. What are your thoughts on a Sanji versus Oven fight? He seems pretty strong, but since he's not a commander, he could actually be a good, realistic matchup for Sanji. They both have heat-related powers to a degree, making it another kind of mirror match, and it would bring Sanji the New World win he really deserves.
Yeah,
I could see it.
Yeah, I would say that
Maybe
like,
not a long one, like one or two chapters tops.
I wouldn't want to see like, oh, if Sanji's going to fight, who else is going to get a one-on-one fight? Like, I wouldn't want to see one-on-one fights for all the Straw Hats. But if anyone aside from Luffy is going to get one, it should be Sanji. So I think I'm actually kind of convinced that this seems pretty likely. Okay, they're gonna bring the cake out the front door, and then Oven's right there, and now Sanji has to fight him off while they load the cake, or so, something weird like that. Who knows? But yeah, it seems plausible. Hatem H wants to know, do you foresee Ideo and Blue Gilly ending the 1,000-world struggle? I think that's 1,000-year struggle between the Long Arm and Long Leg tribes. That would be a very sizable addition to the Grand Fleet. Well, they've got 2 more weeks to do it, so good luck, guys. Yeah, I'm sure that's probably a part of the implication of that story. Is them bringing on some new folks. And lastly, we'll have Black Northwind, who says, poor Pound, all he ever wanted was to see his daughters and speak to them, but in this messy family, no one seems to respect him. Let's hope that he gets his wish and leaves this place with Capone and the crew.
No. All he ever wanted was some apple juice.
That is true. Actually, this makes me wonder, I would assume that he is aware that Chiffon was married.
He said you heard.
Right. So does he therefore know about Pez as well? Like, is he going to get to see his grandson?
Oh,
that'd be nice.
No, he's
be a
gonna
nice
die.
arc wrap up.
No, he wants it too bad, so he's gonna die.
He's gonna try to get on board, and Capone's like, there's no way in hell my father-in-law is gonna be riding crew here.
Put him in a home.
There's only one Teddy on this ship.
Yep. Pound went into the assisted living program.
Oh God.
Okay.
All right.
Just Pound, just sitting outside the ship. Can I come too?
Well, at least we know he would get his daily allotment of apple juice there.
Plenty of apple juice.
All right. Well, Ed, I think that means it's time for.
Oh yeah.
Peace the tweet. Yeah.
Forgot I was a host for a second.
You're having too much fun. First question comes from Shogun Taz, who says, with the amount of Disney in this arc, what do you guys think a One Piece World theme park would look like?
Okay. Right. I've been to Disneyland a bunch since I've moved out here to LA, and this is my favorite pastime in waiting in lines at Disneyland, is to think up the One Piece theme park. And I'd like to talk to you guys about it because I never got to talk to you guys. What would be the centerpiece? Like, how we have Sleeping Beauty's castle as the centerpiece in Disneyland. What would be the centerpiece of the One Piece theme park? Would it be the castle Marie Joie? Would it be the castle from Drum? Would it even be a castle?
It's a little pond with the,
it'd be the Going Merry.
Sunny in it. Yeah.
No, it'd be the Mary, I think.
Mary, not the Sunny?
I think it's the classic.
I think you have your Thrower Bark Haunted Mansion ride for sure. You have your Water 7 Water Flume ride.
Yeah.
I'd go on that one.
Rocket Man roller coaster.
Totally.
You got this all figured out.
Yeah, pay me. I think like it would be cool to have like a Puffing Tom go around the park, like you have the Walt Disney Railroad.
Mhm.
What else?
Actually, I think Reverse Mountain would be a better flume ride
Mm.
Mm.
Ooh,
than.
nice.
That would work too.
why
Yeah.
not have?
That'd be a
two?
pretty good centerpiece too.
You just it's
Eh,
it's kind of like the storybook ride in Pinocchio where you
Yeah.
just crash into Laboon's mouth instead.
Oh, that would be great.
God,
Like you
that'd
go
be
on a
dope.
water ride, you
That'd be
go to the top of Reverse Mountain, you come down, it goes right into Laboon's mouth, and there's this whole other part of the ride.
you
a
go.
big
Yeah.
musical number.
There it is.
A big musical number with what's his name?
Crocus.
Crocus. He's just sitting in a lawn chair reading newspaper. Like, oh, I guess you want a
Someone's
song.
gonna die.
Me, of course. I'm just trying to think of other ideas I've had in the past. I would love to see a Baratier restaurant.
Oh, of
Yeah.
course, got it.
Yeah.
Got to.
Um,
Whole Cake Island at this point would be a great food court.
oh my god, yeah, we gotta do like a Whole Cake Island now. Like Disneyland has Main Street USA. Maybe Fuchsia Village would be the first thing you walk into, or Logtown. Oh my god, I forgot Logtown.
Mm.
In the center
you
of the
enter
park
and
should
where-
be
and
the
where you leave.
freaking scaffolding. But that would be kind of
That's a little
a
grim.
little grim, a little depressing. I know, but no, I think when you walk
go
in,
on
it should be Logtown.
The Ferris wheel is the Shabandi Park. So
Yes,
they're just
yes.
they're giant bubbles that you can see through all around.
Oh, this is great.
And
That's a
since I
great
just
idea.
watched the Logtown arc recently with a friend, I want to see have the Gold Roger bar from that filler in Logtown, because I think despite the anime version of Logtown being half filler, I think they had some really cool ideas, and that was one of them.
Oh, if you want to have like a giant boondoggle, you could do the 20,000 Leagues Under Fishman Island submarine ride.
Where it's a really long ride and you can't leave and you get bored real quick.
Hey, now.
All the windows fog up and it smells weird.
Disneyland also has the Matterhorn bobsleds. I wonder if we should have like the Drum Rocky bobsleds. It's just a 90-degree drop. Yes, this
Okay.
is
No,
one of my,
but it's like the Himalaya coaster at the Animal Kingdom where you have to dodge fucking yetis.
yeah, it's similar. I've never been on that, but yeah.
Yep. The first two are a hiking bear and a lapon, and the last one is just Nagikuma Maria going.
It's just- what's happening? And you just go by like, oh, it's a bear. Oh no, it's just a lady.
Every ride should just
Oh,
be like a little bit more terrifying than any other amusement
We need,
amusement park.
We need Bartholomew Kuma's Soarin.
Soaring over the Grand Line. Oh,
Oh, wow, Steve.
Steve's been to California's adventure. He knows what's
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And can the introduction video just be Patrick Warburton as Bartholomew Kuma?
Yeah.
All right. Where would you like to go? That's amazing. Yeah, that's one of my favorite things to do when I'm lonely and I just have my thoughts. I just start thinking about a One Piece theme park. Please hit me up if you ever have any ideas. I love talking about this. This is one of my favorite piece together questions in quite a while. This is fun. All right, let's hear some Mullins' stupid theories.
Actually, I mean, this one's mostly for Sam, but Poke Luffy one says rename Mario Odyssey Kingdom to One Piece Islands. I don't know.
Haven't started
Anything
Odyssey, Sam,
for you.
so I think you're alone
is-
on this one.
I don't know, a theme name kingdom. It's yeah, I actually don't know how to.
Like,
Is it like the Cake Kingdom would be where we are, or the Toy Kingdom?
Yeah, it would be pretty much. I think. Wait, there might be like a 2-syllable. No, yeah, Cake Kingdom would be fine.
the Bubble
Or how about
Kingdom.
Thriller Bark is the Centaur Kingdom.
Yeah.
Okay. Next one comes from the Puerto Rican guy. Says, "Where are the Straw Hats going to party after they win? Are they going to party with Germa or the Fire Tank Pirates or alone?"
May I just say to the Puerto Rican guy, confess!
Okay.
I'm sorry. I thought it was a reference to a South Park episode.
I'm exposed as having not watched South Park in a decade.
It's an old episode. It's a very old episode at this point. Who wants to party with Germa?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was just thinking.
What kind of
I
music?
think-
What kind of music you guys listen to? Oh, we don't listen to music. We just kill people, and then we laugh. Our father thought music wasn't necessary.
Fire Tank Pirates are pretty cool.
Yeah,
I think the Fire Tank Pirates probably were like, "Hey, we made cannolis."
exactly. Yeah, there
They'd
you
probably
go.
get like some guy singing like Italian opera. It'd be a good time. It'd be a fancy little dinner. that
It's like
Luffy
the
would
opening
ruin.
scene from The Godfather.
Yeah.
Sanji and Pudding are gonna suck on the same strand of spaghetti until
I want to see Beige break out an accordion. Now for the lovely couple. Sorry, I don't really do my voice. I
Yeah, the fun of it's up.
I miss Alex's Fat Tony voice for Capone because that is my that is my headcanon for Capone is him sounding like Fat Tony.
Yeah.
So
All right. Next one comes from Anime Queen 95. It says, "Any ideas for what's going to happen when Luffy leaves Gear 4, or do you think he's going to be Katakuri before that happens?" That's the thing about it that makes me think it's going to end more quickly.
he's got no
Yeah,
gyats to stall for time. So.
Right. My bet is Luffy versus Katakuri ends in a draw. That's my bet right now.
I don't know because Luffy's not going to fight Big Mom this arc, so I want him. Well, he did beat Cracker, but I don't know.
But barely.
Barely.
All right. Next one comes from Quip Quest. Sorry?
But I don't think he's going to get tired. He's not going to leave the form and then not be able to use it for 10 minutes.
Right. I think this fight lasts the duration of the rest of his Gear 4 right now.
God, I hope so.
Yep. Next one comes from Quip Quest, who says, "Sorry, OPP, when it comes to the OPs, I guess he means openings, I will take hypothetical fights over static, awkward villain group panning shots any day."
Disagree.
Man, I don't care for either.
I don't care for
I'll
2.5
take the
minute
villains.
openings. You know,
That's the thing. Like, I've warmed up to the new opening. I like the song a lot more than when I first heard it. But man, it loses steam after the first minute and a half. It's like that's it. You don't need to show the rest of the stuff.
That's where it picks up for me. Like
It's
I
weird
like
because
the-
it's
Well,
the-
regardless, it only needs 1 minute and 20 seconds. It only needs one of those two. It doesn't need both.
right.
It's paced very similarly to Brand New Worlds, where you have like the quick shots of some of the fights that are going to happen. It feels very similar to that, and then the second half is let's show the Charlotte family again. It's like, yeah, but you already showed them.
Well, you get the Charlotte family. You get the meeting with Beige. You get Pudding marrying Sanji on the top of the cake. You get Vince Smokes kicking ass against nobody.
To what? Air?
Yeah, air.
We did it, gang. Yeah, there are. No, I'm not saying there aren't good shots in there, but I feel like the first minute and a half of the opening is fine. But not gonna happen. So.
All right. Next one and last question this week comes from 91 Ryan, who says, "I think Oven is going to ruin the plan of making the cake for Big Mom."
God, that would suck.
Yeah.
I mean, I mean, he wants Big Mom to get her cake at some point,
And
right?
eat
Yeah.
it too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Sorry, I found that pretty humorous. Oh no!
Yeah, that's
Our cake is ruined. It's all Oven's fault. Yeah, Oven did it.
he'd be screwed at that point.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
And
probably, I mean, probably.
so would Parasparrow.
Anyway,
He's
Good
gonna
piece together.
he's gonna deter it. He's gonna be a problem, but he's not gonna. This cake is getting made.
and eaten.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's it.
What's next? That's it.
That's it.
That's
Right.
the last one.
And that was a lot of fun. I had some laughs. It's time to close out this show. Are you guys ready?
Same.
One Piece podcast. We did a lot today. Actually, no, we didn't. We just did the standard. But
Well,
it
was a good episode of the anime. Not as good as the last few weeks, as I said during the segment, but
I thought it was better than the last few weeks.
and you can hear and you've heard our entire disagreement already.
I'm sorry I wasn't there to be the third man. So,
but the manga was also very good this week. There's also lots of great One Piece content.
Yeah, meanwhile, there's no big news stories or anything on One Piece. The Whole Cake Island arc has just been a treat. If I could use that word in reference to arc, because it's all about food. But no, it's the happenings in the manga have been very enjoyable, and I think it's. I'm not dying for this arc to end like I was. Like, there's no Whole Cake Island fatigue. I think this arc has been paced very well. I've been having a good time, and I had a good time talking about it today. But I guess we really have, like I said, Anime NYC. It's happening November 17th to the 19th. Zach, Kelly, and who knows who else will show up. But they're doing a 20 years of One Piece panel. That's Friday night at 8 p.m. at that con. If you're going, please attend. We did one back in Otakon, and we had a lot of fun. I think Zach is trying to change it up a little bit. Who knows what to expect? So even if you went to Otakon, you're going to Anime NYC, you might see something very different. But I guess we could start saying our goodbyes and saying our plugs. So why don't we start with Steven? How can the people find you?
Yeah, you may find me on Twitter at Translatosaurus. I should be getting the volume 87 book from Japan this week, although it'll be probably more towards the end of the year. I think that we're actually going to cover that because the next time we have a break in the manga, which I would guess will be in the second half of November, just on how these things go, we will be covering the third and final interview with Oda from the One Piece magazine, and I've been going over it recently in preparation for that, and I think that actually may be the most interesting one yet, because it's him talking to a selection of editors that he has had, including his they call him the zeroth editor, who was the guy who worked with him when he was doing one-shots, and then Oda was handed to his first editor for One Piece when the serial started. So you actually get like pre-One Piece stories there, and the guy who sent him to work with all the different artists like Watsuki and stuff. So there's some really cool kind of background stuff in that. So we will get to that one next, and then volume 87 whenever the following break is. But look forward to those in the coming weeks.
That sounds pretty awesome. I have all the One Piece magazines, but I don't know what the hell's going on in them. So I'm desperately looking forward to the third and final episode of that. And Sam, where could the good people find you?
They can find me on Twitter at Lucky Chainsaw, and they can find me on the AnimeNewsNetwork.com doing the daily streaming reviews for One Piece, Dragon Ball Super, and now Black Clover. And they can find me on the One Piece podcast every week doing the anime recaps.
Nice. Any anime you could recommend me, Sam?
Recovery of an MMO Junkie is pretty good.
Oh yeah. I've been seeing
Terry's the lead in the dub now.
Yeah.
What more reasons do you need?
I saw her posting about that, but I didn't know anything about the show. I had no idea she was the lead, so now I feel like a schmuck. So now I should watch that. So I should support my friend. But Ed, how the good people contact us?
Well, the first they can see us on Spoil It on Viz's various social media accounts.
It's true.
Spoiling One Piece for them. The podcast, and you're Steve Yurko on Twitter and all other social media, pretty much.
Yep.
I am Edward E. One Piece. And the podcast can be found at OnePiecePodcast.com, Twitter.com, YouTube.com, and Facebook.com/OnePiecePodcast. OnePiecePodcast@gmail.com is our email address. OnePiecePodcast is our Skype name. Please subscribe and support us at Patreon.com/OnePiecePodcast. Get access to our special episodes and our entire back archive. And you can send us some piece together at reddit.com/r/OnePiecePodcast. And you can subscribe on SoundCloud, subscribe on Google Play, subscribe, rate, and review on Apple Podcasts, or call us on our phone number, Steve.
That phone number is, let me pull that bad boy up. It is 347-497-MAJI.
Machi.
That's 347-497-6254. Call anytime.
Anytime.
Please, with your questions, comments, your theories, your suggestions for a One Piece theme park, because that's the kind of stuff I live for. But
All right.
It was a pleasure hosting this episode with you guys. It was a lot of fun. I would like to thank you guys for coming on. I would like to thank all you out there for listening. And please tune in next week. But until then, my name is Steve.
My name is Ed.
And yeah, we'll see you next time.
Adios.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
So all this time we thought like Pound was going to be on a quest for revenge, that it was Big Mom who was going to go to Pound Town, but it turned out it was actually just Pound who was going to Pound Town.
The one
this
who
whole
got
time.
pounded was me. Pound.